Egypt's foreign minister is in Washington this week, meeting with top Trump officials about the war in the Middle East. On Tuesday, he spoke with Secretary of State Marco Rubio about Egypt's role in attaining peace with Iran. They also discussed developments in Gaza and ending the humanitarian crisis in Sudan. CBS News intelligence and national security reporter Olivia Gazis is in Washington with the foreign minister. Olivia, good morning.
Good morning, Vlad and Kelly and Foreign Minister. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We have a little bit of time and a lot to cover. Let's start with Iran. You did meet with Secretary Rubio. You spoke with your Pakistani counterpart yesterday. What have you learned about the likelihood of talks resuming in Islamabad?
Well, of course, first of all, I'm here in a testament of our strategic relationship with the United States. And we are doing our maximum efforts in cooperation with our regional and international partners, above all the United States, of course, in order to promote dialogue and diplomacy. And we hope that there will be a resumption of the talks between the United States and Iran to work out the remaining pending issues. Those pending issues, we believe that we can deal with them and hopefully will be bridgeable. A part of that, we will have meetings very soon tomorrow in Antalya, Turkey, with the Quad, with the 4 countries, Pakistan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. And we will coordinate our efforts in order to push for the resumption of the direct talks as well as promotion of diplomacy and dialogue.
President Trump said that he is not considering an extension of the ceasefire. Is that your understanding as well? Are we closer to brokering a deal or a resumption of hostilities?
Well, we hope that, first of all, to have a second round of direct negotiations between Iran and the United States. First one was very, very important. This is the highest level of dialogue between the United States and Iran in decades. So we believe that there is opportunity and we need to push for this available window of opportunity, as I mentioned, to reach compromises on the existing pending issues.
Mm-hmm. President Trump has referred to the leadership in Iran as a new regime, as more reasonable, pretty reasonable, he said yesterday. How do you view it?
Well, of course, you know, the Iranians, they have their own regime, their own system. We cannot intervene on that. But we sense that there is a willingness in order to give opportunity for diplomacy and to try to reach compromises on the existing pending issues related to mainly the nuclear file. So we hope that will work.
Mm-hmm. They have openly threatened, the new leadership has, to block international shipping in the Red Sea, focusing on the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which is obviously in your backyard. 15% of global shipping passes through the Red Sea. Have you heard from your U.S. counterparts a plan for confronting that scenario should it arise?
Well, first of all, we are with the freedom of navigation. This is extremely important. This is a principle all countries should abide with. We cannot have any country to block the international waterways. And as you know, Egypt has the Suez Canal, and this is very crucial to the international trade. And of course, we are pushing for securing the freedom of navigation, and we are confident that easing the tension, de-escalating, and reaching compromises on the pending issues, of course, will have a very positive impact on the current distress in the region. And again, as I mentioned before, international navigation, freedom of navigation should be secured and respected.
Secretary Hegseth was asked about this morning in his press availability, and he said the Houthis in Yemen were hesitating. They had not yet opted to involve themselves in this conflict. How do you see their intentions from where you are?
Well, I mean, since the existing ceasefire breached a few months ago between Houthi and the United States, I think, things are moving well with regard to the freedom of navigation in the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. And this is good news. We hope that this will continue because, again, this is a principle should be respected by everyone. And on the second hand, we have the Council of the Arab States and African States who are riparian countries to the Red Sea. And this council is important, is entrusted with issues related to the governance of the Red Sea. And we have our own responsibility to ensure the safety and the security of navigation. And again, it's all about diplomacy, about negotiations, about de-escalation, and that will have a very positive impact on the current situation with regard to the freedom of navigation.
Let me please ask you about the situation in Gaza, where there appears to be an utter deadlock in progress and implementation of the Gaza peace deal. Hamas is insisting that it will not disarm. Is Egypt working on brokering a solution to that impasse? Are you still talking to Hamas? What are you hearing about their intentions?
Well, of course, we're still talking. We're still exerting our extensive efforts since the hosting of the Sharm el-Sheikh summit meeting last October. Egypt is working day by night in order to implement the 20 points of President Trump's peace plan, which is very crucial, and we're commanding President Trump as a man of peace to continue following the implementations of the second phase of this peace plan. This is very crucial. Without President Trump, without the American administration, we cannot move forward. And it was President Trump who put an end to the Israeli attacks and aggressions on Gaza. So for the time being, a delegation from Hamas came to Cairo 3 times in the last few weeks, and we are working with the High Representative of the Board of Peace, Nikolai Miladinov. He met with the Hamas people in Cairo, and we are pushing very hard. We give them a proposal for decommissioning on phases, to start with the heavy weapons and ended with the light weapons in a time frame. And parallel to that, Israel should withdraw from Gaza because they're still occupying 51% of Gaza. So we must go in implementation of the second phase, and we don't have to let the current focus on Iran to divert the attention on what's happening in Gaza, and above all, what's happening in the West Bank, because the Israeli practices in the West Bank is, of course, is beyond the imagination with regard violence of settlers, with regard settlement activities, confiscation of lands.
Thank you, Mr. Foreign Minister. I'm being told we are out of time, but we so appreciate your being here this morning. Thank you for joining us. Vlad, back to you.
All right, Olivia, excellent meeting. Thanks to the Foreign Minister as well. We appreciate you both.